J.J. Abrams, the visionary behind Star Wars Episode 7 and Felicity, comes a reboot impossible not to enjoy. Unless you're William Shatner. Star Trek. The cool new franchise that used time travel gobbledygook to throw away 50 years of canon. But who cares? Cause Star Trek is awesome again. Meet Nero.
Hello.
A Romulan out for vengeance after his home planet is destroyed. He'll be given a second chance to save his species when a black hole sends him back in time. But instead of warning his planet about their impending doom, he'll drift around waiting in space for 25 years.
It's like,
come on, they don't have phones in space. But there's one man who can stop him. Captain Pike, who's quickly captured, leaving only one other man. Commander Spock, who quits after an emotional breakdown.
I've been emotionally compromised.
Leaving only one other man who can stop him. Captain James T. Kirk, an angry drunk who is accepted into Starfleet without any paperwork, background checks, or medical evaluations. Come aboard as Kirk commands the USS Enterprise, the Federation's heavily armed Apple store, full of Mac geniuses who rise through the ranks, not because of service or aptitude, but because of things like the flu.
Where's Helmsman McKenna?
He has lungworms, sir.
I'm Hikaru Sulu.
Death.
Dr. Puri was on deck 6. He's dead.
Then you have just inherited his responsibility as Chief Medical Officer.
Gross incompetence.
Sir, I'm not sure I can distinguish the Romulan language from Vulcan.
Uhura, relieve the lieutenant.
And sheer proximity to a clean uniform. Experience a film that made nerds cry, nerds cheer, and nerds go, huh? Explore a brand new Star Trek universe that takes all the Star Trek aliens you know and love and doesn't show any of them.
Nope.
Instead, witness big eyes, long face, tic-tac eyes, and tan mom. Prepare to be blown away by what was essentially J.J. Abrams' Star Wars demo reel.
oh my
It's a
God.
saga that asks all the important questions.
That was good.
Like, why does Chris Pine make this same stupid face every time he gets punched? And, we know the writer's still working? So blast off into a new era of actually watchable Star Trek films, filled with action, excitement, and lens flares.
Oh, here we go. Wait, no, this is staring music. This is only staring music. Oh, man. So much.
And even more flares.
Oh, God. It was good. It was good. The first part was good. Don't overdo it.
Seriously, how can anyone even see on this shit? Starring Zap Brannigan, Spork, oh my, Space Material, Mike Tyson, no one's favorite, Keith Urban, Groundskeeper
That's
Willie,
messed up.
Tyler
gone
Perry's
now.
Tyler Perry, and Old Spork, Star Trek. Man, that was cool. So how long until they reboot Next Generation? Man, that is going to be radical.
All right, that honest trailer was dope. That's obviously the lens flare piece. They had to do the whole staring music with the lens flare, which I'm like, oh my God, here we go. But they could have cut it off after one time. I mean, sometimes they overdo some of their little jokes. So one time would have been great, but it wasn't too long. But they could have just done one. I like the part about how Chris Pine makes the same face every time he gets punched. Hilarious. They didn't have a lot of aliens show up that we know and love from the TV shows. That would have been nice. But Honest Trailers, I think, tackled a lot of information here, which was really great, considering it was only about 4 minutes. So Honest Trailer was great. So now, on to the pitch meeting.
So, you have a movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. I was thinking we can make a Star
Is that a
Trek
lens
movie.
flare?
Oh, interesting. Is it like a reboot or a sequel or a prequel? Yes. I love it. So what happens in this
We got
thing?
the
Well, at the
lens
start of the
flares.
movie, we're gonna see some spaceships being attacked, right? Okay. And we're gonna meet this guy, George Kirk, whose wife is about to give birth to a little baby James. Oh, and what's this George Kirk guy like? Like, who should we cast? I don't know why, but I'm imagining somebody that would look really good holding like a big magical hammer. That's extremely specific. I'll see what I can do. So anyway, these good guy ships are being attacked by this bad guy Nero, and George's ship loses its autopilot. Oh no. Yeah, so he has to stay on board and pilot the thing. There's no other way. Yeah, for sure. So what does he do? Well, he programs the ship onto a collision course with the bad guys, and then he kind of sits back in his chair. Wait, he programs it on a collision course, and then he's able to sit back and not do anything? That's right, he sits down to let it happen. That kind of sounds like autopilot. He should probably leave. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. Anyway, so he dies. Oh, he does, okay. Yeah, so then a couple years later, we're gonna meet a young James Kirk. Oh, and what's he up to? Well, he steals his stepdad's car and drives it into a canyon, but jumps out at the last second and hangs on from a cliff. Very cool. So what does the scene have to do with everything? Absolutely nothing, but it's gonna look cool in the trailer and let people know it's an origin movie. Yep. Well, okay then. Then we're gonna meet a young Spock, and he has some bullies surrounding him. Oh, space bullies. Yeah, and he's gonna be like, this is your 35th attempt to get an emotional response from me. Very stoic. But then they make fun of the fact that he has a human mother, and he just loses it. They bullied him 35 times and never tried a yo mama joke. That's right. Oh, uncreative space bullies are tight. So anyway, now that we've established that both main characters were once children, we can move on. Yeah, great. I guess it'll be helpful moving forward to know that these were once children and they weren't born fully grown men. For sure. So then adult Kirk gets into a bar fight with some Starfleet guys, right? Okay. And then this Captain Pike dude is like, I knew your dad. You should enlist in Starfleet, you violent drunk. Let's do this thing. So what does Kirk do? Well, he takes a look at the Enterprise, which it just so happens is being built like in his backyard, and that seems to convince him to enlist. He gets on the ship the next morning. He just gets on board. There's no paperwork or screening or anything. Apparently not. You just get on the ship and you're in. Well, okay then. So a couple years later, Kirk is at the academy, right? And he has to pass this test called the Kobayashi Maru, which is just like impossible to beat. Right. Oh, sounds like it's gonna be impossible to beat. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, he just modifies the test so that he can win, but then he gets in trouble for doing that. That makes sense. It doesn't sound like it's allowed. Yeah, so he has to go to like this hearing thing, and then it turns out that Spock is the one who designed the test so people can experience fear. Why would anyone experience fear in a test they know is impossible to beat? I don't know. Fair enough. But then before anything too serious can happen to Kirk, there's like a big emergency and everybody has to rush to go help. Uh-oh. Yeah, and Kirk's friend Bones manages to sneak him onto the Enterprise, right? So he's like, wait, we're headed towards a big lightning storm. The last time that happened was that big famous event where my dad died. Nobody made that connection. Nobody made that connection. So then it turns out he was right. Right. So Captain Pike is like, well, I gotta go on this enemy ship now. So Spock, you're captain, and Kirk, you're first officer. Even though he wasn't even supposed to be there? Even though he wasn't even supposed to be there, because he was right about a thing, so he's qualified now. Wow. Anyway, so that bad guy Nero and his Romulan dudes are digging this big drill into the planet Vulcan, right? Oh, why are they doing that? Well, because they want to drop this red matter stuff into the planet's core, because that could like cause a black hole. Wouldn't a black hole be just as effective on the surface of a planet? Yeah, maybe, but this way the good guy characters have some time to do some heroic stuff. Oh, okay, gotcha. So they gotta take down this drill, because I decided, right? Oh, so they shoot it down. No, they can't do that. How come? Because that's not exciting enough. Fair enough. You know, they gotta parachute down and fight some dudes. Much more exciting, yeah. But even though they stop the drill, the bad guys drop some red matter anyway, and they destroy Vulcan and kill Spock's mom. Oh no. Then Spock and Kirk get into this big argument, so Spock has to deal with them. So he like puts him in a cell for insubordination? No, he puts him in a space pod and shoots him off onto a dangerous ice planet. Oh my god, why would he do that? Because I need him to do that for the movie. Oh, okay, gotcha. So Kirk immediately gets attacked by this big monster thing, and so he runs into a cave, and that's where he meets an old Spock that traveled back in time. What? Pretty cool, right? On the surface of an entire planet, Kirk just happens to walk into the cave where a time-traveling Spock is hanging out. That's what we're going with. That works for me. And so time travel Spock drops a bunch of exposition on him. He's like, I tried to save Nero's planet in the future with some red matter, but then it didn't work, and he got mad, and he got sent back in time, and so did I, but there was a difference of like 25 years for some reason, and so he's all mad, and he wants to blow up a bunch of planets. So Nero got sent back in time on what just happened to be Kirk's birthday. That's right. And he got sent back to before his planet was ever destroyed. That's right. And then he just hangs out for like 25 years. Yeah, And if at any moment in those 25 years he happened to find out what the date was, there would be no conflict in the movie whatsoever. Yeah, pretty much. If Nero found out what year it was, he could go stop the thing that he's mad about happening, because it hasn't happened yet. Well, maybe on the DVD we can have an alternate ending where Nero just looks at a calendar and solves everything. Maybe. So what else happens? Well, Spock takes Kirk to this Federation outpost just a little walk from his cave. Spock's been hanging out within walking distance of an outpost and he didn't warn anyone about the Romulans? Right, because he's not the main character, so he can't go to places unless he's with the main character. That makes sense. So it turns out there's this dude Scotty who works there, and in the future he figures out how to do transwarp beaming. Okay. And so old Spock is like, well, here's your equation for that, and then he beams him and Kirk onto the Enterprise. Wow, well thank God everything Kirk needed was within walking distance of the spot he was shot on a random ice planet. Yeah, it all worked out extremely well. So then what happens? Well, Kirk goes to see Spock like, your mom is dead, aren't you angry? And Spock is like, I am angry actually, and so he has to step down as captain. Very mean. So then Kirk becomes captain and they go defeat Nero with some red matter and a black hole and space things. So the black holes destroy things or send them back in time? They do whatever, literally anything I want. Well, okay then. And so there's this fun little ceremony where they make Kirk the actual captain of the Enterprise for good. Feels like he didn't really earn that. He wasn't even out of the academy. Well, actually, he was brave for a day, and that's apparently all it takes. Oh, that's how that works. Okay. So what do you think? Well, I mean, it sounds like a fun thrill ride of a movie. Yeah, you think so? And I mean, if this kind of action-packed sci-fi modern revival thing works out, who knows what kind of changes that could lead to in the industry.
I love how the pitch meeting had lens flares in the video. He didn't actually talk about the lens flare, but he had it in the video just kind of going. It's just there. Could have had some moments where it was like a little too much. That would have been pretty funny, but still good stuff. I like how, you know, obviously anytime you have a prequel or, you know, something showing the beginnings of a franchise, you got to have them as their kids. You know, you got to have the kids in there at some point to show that, well, they do grow up into adults. That apparently just, it comes with the territory of a prequel. Obviously, towards the end, you could tell that writer guy just doesn't even care anymore. He's like, space stuff is happening, stuff and things, and wormholes, whatever wormholes do to what I write, that's just how it's gonna go. I love it when he does that. He just doesn't care. He's just gonna write it up to be done with it, get paid, and get out of there and get on to the next movie, obviously. So that was pretty hilarious. Which was your favorite, though? Which was your favorite between the two? I really can't choose a favorite for me. I like them both. They both did things a little bit differently while talking about some of the same stuff, as most times that's what happens here, but both were pretty hilarious to me. Which one do you choose, though? Let me know in the comments below. Also, look for the poll. Star Wars or Star Trek? Which one are you? Like, which one do you side with? I love both. I'm probably more Star Wars, but I love the stories that Star Trek can do, especially considering they had TV shows, so many TV shows. They're able to tackle a lot more ground than Star Wars ever has. I have been in love with Star Trek more often because there's more content there, but Star Wars has always been a favorite of mine when I choose, you know, what characters I want to be and things like that. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a Trekkie. I'd probably say I'm more of a Star Wars fanboy. So look for that poll, vote. Which one are you, Star Wars or Star Trek? Which side do you go with? To my hyper crew, Brian Tidwell, Steve O, Slepnier, K6013, Portalo Mobile 44, Dash Milner, and Daniel Lopez. Thank you guys so much for being a part of that crew. To all my members and my subscribers, thank you guys so much for coming back each and every day, hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button, monetarily supporting the channel, whatever the case. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming back and supporting. While you're still here, if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. It does help me out, helps the channel, helps me know what you guys want to see in these videos. Also, check out our most popular videos right over here. You can see our most recent reaction right up there as well. If you've seen all that, I'll see you guys in the comments. We'll talk about this.